What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Chris, this is 4K Motoring, and today we're going to have the big video that I've been wanting to put out for a while. I'm going to be comparing the Google Pixel Watch with the Fossil Gen 6 smartwatch. Okay, here's my background. I've had the Fossil Gen 6 smartwatch, this one right here. I've had this for a little over a year now. I've worn it pretty much every day for a year. It's been my daily driver, and I've, for the most part, loved this watch. There's been very few things I didn't like about this watch. It's been awesome since I've gotten it. I'm going to list the specs up here for you. The big takeaways is that it has a 300 milliamp hour battery. It's got the Snapdragon Wear 4100 Plus processor with a small coprocessor for background activities. It has pretty much all the health things that you'd want. It has the step counters, it has the pulse oximetry, has a decent heart rate monitor, it has GPS, has NFC, you know, all those basic things. It does have a microphone and a speaker to take phone calls on it. It is a pretty decent watch. It's got a 1.28 inch screen, I believe, round screen, which is similar to the Pixel Watch. It's similar in a lot of ways to the Pixel Watch. And what I can tell you is, for battery life, about 24 hours is pretty common. I do 12-hour shifts, so between drive time getting to and from work, you know, 14 to 16-hour days between watch off time and watch back on the charger time, I'm usually just under 50% left on this watch. Without a doubt, this is definitely the watch I have the most experience with, and there's a lot I can say about it. Overall, the experience has been very positive with Wear OS 2 that it had. I've recently updated to Wear OS 3, and I think it's a little premature for this watch. It has degraded a bunch of features that I actually liked before about it, so I'm hoping they'll get that fixed and get back to what I did like about this watch. It was really good. Now Wear OS 3 has tried to make it a Pixel Watch with Fossil features. It's just not working. So if you're getting one of these, make sure you stay with Android Wear 2. Don't upgrade until all the bugs are fixed, mid-October 2022 here. This has been pretty great. The things that I've been most surprised about in comparison with this watch, the Google Pixel Watch, have been that they are incredibly similar in what they're able to do. Their reaction speed with the UI, both the menu scrolling and some of the feedback from Google Assistant, that sort of thing, have been identically fast. I mean, they've done the exact same thing. The Snapdragon Wear 4100 processor is significantly faster than this 4-year-old processor in the Pixel Watch, but the Pixel Watch has optimized the UI well enough that it keeps up pretty well and really has no problems. The battery life has been impeccably similar. Throughout the day, these two, with equal usage, all things equal, have had within 2% of the same battery level of each other at all times. And this is still true with Wear OS 3 as it was with the Fossil, with Wear OS 2. Both watches are identical in battery life. So reaction speed, system navigation, battery life, so far they're the same. What features do they offer? Pretty much exactly the same everything. The Pixel Watch gives you EKG support, and it's just a 2-lead. It's kind of cool. It's something that you have to use on demand. It's not a background function. It gives you a little bit more frequent heart rate monitoring. It's been giving a reading every second, which seems overkill, but it's kind of cool. It's a little gimmicky. I kind of like it. And I will say, much like the Fossil Sports smartwatch that came before this one, the Pixel Watch is very comfortable. I know it's a very soft look. It's got rounded edges, and it just doesn't look, per se as masculine as something like the Fossil Watch did with its crown, its lugs, kind of a bigger size, but it is very comfortable. Now, to compare the Pixel Watch, this has all the specs that you've seen before. I'll put them on the screen here. This has a Exynos processor, one of the Samsung processors from a couple years ago. It does have a small coprocessor with that for low power activities. It's got a 1.2 inch screen. It is a very bright 1000 nit screen, so it's a little bit brighter than the Fossil Watch, but a little bit smaller. It does have some bezels that on this rounded glass edge, the UI does pretty well covering it up, but it has to cover it up, unlike some of the older watches that had metal on the side. I'm a little concerned about the glass. I've seen some pictures of these being shattered already, whereas typically the watches will have a metal band around them and a flat screen. That does give them some impact protection. I've had watches again since 2014, smartwatches, and I've never broken a screen. I think this might be the first one looking at the edges, and I'm a little worried about that. So I'm hoping they do something different. It looks great and it feels awesome to scroll on. Whenever you're swiping, it feels so good to have the rounded corners. But I don't think it's going to be very durable, and that's kind of my problem. The battery is 294 milliamp hour battery. It's been lasting all day. It's, again, 12-hour shift, 14 to 16-hour days off charger, and I'm still just under 50% charge with that. So absolutely, this will go 24 hours without using the GPS workout features. So every time I've done that, it's not been when I've tracked a workout somewhere, but it's been just normal day-to-day operations. I've done phone calls, I've done the flashlights, NFC Pay a lot, answering messages, those sort of things, the day-to-day activities, and 24 hours with always on screen, no problem. Two things that I think make these really different. The watch mechanism on the Fossil watch, this is a very generic 22mm watch strap with quick release. Same as any quick release watch strap you'll find. As long as it's 22mm, it will fit this watch no matter the brand. They've been out forever. Plenty to choose from. Google, and as long as they keep supporting this, are going to have their proprietary cam lock. A little clunky, but it is pretty easy to use. It works pretty well, and it does hide lugs. There you go, it's on. Looks pretty good, and it does seem pretty secure, but there's not a lot of options for aftermarket, so you're gonna have to stay Googled, and that's gonna be expensive. If you don't change watch straps, I don't unless they break. I just finally, after a year, put a new watch strap on the Fossil, and that's only because I broke one of the original silicone band of the previous one. On that subject, the other big disparity between the two is price. Now, the Google Pixel Watch, without the LTE connectivity, just the Wi-Fi version, is $350. $349, I think, is MSRP. That's what it's going for. The Fossil watch, MSRP is around $270, but a lot of places have it for about $240, $250. So a good $100 cheaper than the Pixel watch. Now the big takeaway there is if the daily experience between the two is identical, if the battery life is identical, if the UI speed is identical, if the functions and features are, for the most part, identical, why would you spend $100 more to get the Google product? Obviously, you have to note the fitness tracking as well. I don't do a lot of fitness tracking with my watches. I do mountain biking and will track my rides. But beyond that, I don't do a lot with them. I know there's a big disparity between the Pixel Watch that uses a Fitbit-based platform. You can use Google Fit with it, but it's kind of clunky. It doesn't really work all the features well. I tried doing that first, and it really didn't work well. The Fossil watch really does embrace, or at least before this update, embraced Google Fit pretty well, did all my tracking through there, and had really no issues. So depending on what ecosystem you come from, one might have an edge over the other, but I really don't prioritize this over my choice of a smartwatch. I like an assistant and a lifestyle assistant more than I want a fitness tracker. One of the big complaints I hear about these is regarding the battery life and sleep tracking. Now, these are both 24-hour units. They're not really going to last longer than 24 straight hours using them pretty regularly, which means really might be iffy whether you can actually get a full day's work out of it and then also sleep through a night and still have any battery left. I don't use sleep tracking. I tend to put my watches on the charger the same time I put my phone on the charger when I go to bed. When I wake up in the morning, they're charged and ready for the day. This is a perfect battery length for that, and I think that's how a lot of people are. I know when I wake up if I had a good night's sleep or if I didn't. I don't need my watch to tell me that. Apparently some people do, and if you do, that's great. If you've really embraced that technology and gotten some use out of it, I'd love to know exactly how it helps you. I don't really understand it myself, but I'm sure a lot of people seem to embrace that. So that's definitely a consideration with both of these watches. Neither one is going to be better than the other for that purpose. All things equal, here are the key things that I think really differentiate these two watches that you should consider if you're deciding between one or the other, especially given the $100 price disparity. First off is that $100 disparity. $350 versus $250. I know this is available with LTE. I'm not sure if this one's available with LTE, so I don't know what kind of reception you'd have or battery life if you used LTE on a watch. I've never done that. But for the Wi-Fi version, that's what I'm talking about. 350 versus 250. That's the first big thing. The appearance is going to be a very subjective thing, but that's what a lot of people are going to use as a differentiating factor. The softer features, the more round look, the cleaner, no lug look of the Pixel Watch, I'll tell you it is definitely more comfortable to wear on a daily basis versus the Fossil Gen 6 that has the lugs, has the crown, and just is a little bit bigger, bulkier, maybe more durable looking. That's going to be important to some people. I'll tell you that for me, I do like the appearance of the Fossil Watch a little bit more, especially having the additional buttons. I like that. But man, this Pixel Watch has been very comfortable to wear. As I mentioned, battery life and functionality have been identical on these two watches. Obviously, the new Wear OS 3 update that wasn't quite ready yet on the Fossil Watch kind of put that behind, but basing it off my usage when it was still running at stock Wear OS 2, the features and usability were identical. I mean, they worked just the same. There was not a difference between one or the other, which kind of bothered me a little bit because the Pixel branding to me is supposed to be this kind of AI heavy assistant sort of. It thinks for you and it anticipates what you need to really help you. It's the smartphone. That's what the Pixel's always been. I anticipated the Pixel Watch having a similar type of helpfulness and, you know, AI ability that made it better than other watches, but really it's just got a 4-year-old processor and matches a year-old watch without offering really anything else. So it's a little bit disappointing. People say it's a first-gen device, and true, there's been no Pixel watches before, but Google did own Motorola when they were designing the first Moto 360. It's not Google's first watch, or at least their first involvement with a watch. They bought a lot of the engineers, or hired a bunch of the engineers from Fossil a couple years ago. They bought Fitbit. They've been working with Samsung. They've got a lot of watch-making ability, without a doubt, for their team. And this is what we came up with. It is not a bad watch. It definitely is not a bad watch. But with one size, with non-programmable buttons, I think that's a feature I hate about this watch, is that it's got one rotating crown that has a couple features and one button that's not programmable. And that's the part that I probably am bothered by the most. The top button will show you your most used apps, but I'd like it to be programmed to a single app. I have the ability to call the assistant. I have the ability to use Google Pay, but to get to the other thing I actually use all the time, the flashlight, I've got to go through the menu, swipe a couple times, and that's kind of annoying. I'd rather be able to just double tap something or press and hold. There's got to be a way to map these features that's not yet available in Wear OS 3. So which one should you get? That's the real question. And again, before this Wear OS 3 update that I did, I would have said, hands down, save your $100, get the Fossil Gen 6. It is a better all-around, better figured out smartwatch. It is cheaper, it'll save your money, and it still allows you to customize buttons and actually make the watch what you want it to be. Something that the Pixel Watch doesn't, at least not yet, offer. However, with the inclusion of Wear OS 3 on the Fossil Watch, the Pixel Watch does that better. So I'm a little torn right now. They're still shipping the Fossil Watch from the box that's going to have Wear OS 2 if you don't manually update. And as long as you have Wear OS 2, the Fossil Watch right now in mid-October 2022 is the way to go. Without a doubt in my mind, there are different sizes, different bezels, different colors. There's lots of different options for this Gen 6 smartwatch that I think everybody's going to love, so you can find something that fits your style and save your money. So that's it. These are two of the most pure Android smartwatches that you can get right now in 2022. There are other options out there. There's Samsung. There's a whole bunch of other options that offer different things that are less of a pure Android experience, and they offer things that might be useful to some people. If you like those, that's great. But for a pure Android watch, the Pixel Watch definitely does that, but the Fossil Watch also does that. If that's what you're looking for, do yourself a favor right now, buy the Fossil Watch. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and like this video. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think. Do you agree with my decision? Do you think that the Pixel Watch is a better watch? Do you think that the Fossil Gen 6 is going to get all of the updates that it needs now that Wear OS 3 is out? What do you think is the best watch out there right now in 2022? Let me know in the comments. We'll catch you next time.